Yeah, I just remember this kid from One on One.
I think he was on like a basketball movie.
Oh, you thinking Coach Carter, Chad?
No,
He
no,
was
I'm thinking like of a Disney movie, like a Disney TV show movie.
okay.
Yeah, he wasn't Coach Carter. He was wasn't he Carter's son?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. But it was like something to do with like magic or some dumb shit like that. It's a Disney Channel original movie. Zach, do you find anything?
Let's see. Alley Cat's Strike.
That's it. He was the main character in Alley Cat's Strike.
Yeah, that's right. It was a bowling movie.
Yeah, he was the main character in Alley Cat's Strike, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he was like a basketball player who ends up getting recruited to the bowling team, and he's like super embarrassed, I think.
Yo, I had to take a second look. I thought that second kid was Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
So did I, man. And fucking Kaylee Cuoco was in this movie?
Yeah, man.
Shit.
That's a fucking movie right there, folks. So we're talking about Robert Reichard. Am I saying that right? Richard?
Yeah, Richard.
Richard. He was in Cousin Skeeter, and it was a fucking-tastic TV show. But I remembered him in some sports movie on Disney Channel, and it ended up being Alley Cat Strike. I thought it was basketball. I don't know why. I'm thinking of like I think I'm getting it confused with whoever the side character was in Luck of the Irish. with Timothy Munson, and he's Carlton Lassiter. You're gonna send me to the shores of Ireland. I can't think of a better place to spend eternity. My father's from the shores of Cleveland. What? No! Even as a kid, I'm like, I hate that joke, but I love it. All right, so we got a jam-packed show for you today. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto. Joining me is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
All good. What's good, folks?
And joining us is actor Tyler Pew Pew Duncan, here to talk about things that do. How are you, Zach?
I talk about things.
Things, people, such, and as for what?
Exactly.
But fors and such.
You got it. You got it, man.
You're not gonna ask what a butt for is. God damn it. What's a butt for? It's for sitting on, silly.
The way I heard it was it's for pooping, silly.
Well, no. So anyway, we're talking about the last 6 issues of The Boys. Oh, jeez. Got some shit to deal with. So basically, long and short of it, everyone's dead. And the boys are left standing going, what do we do now? And Butcher's like, I don't know, let's just fucking retire. And everyone's like, that sounds like a great idea. So Frenchie, and I'm not going to hit this issue by issue because it was 3-4 weeks ago that I last read this arc, and the particulars are not too high up on my people's priorities list today. Just going to keep going back to that Remember the Titans well until it dries up. So Frenchie and the female decide to go off and do their own thing. MM has to deal with the fact that his daughter is doing adult films with his wife, a.k.a. her mother. So that's on a new level of creepy. Billy's going to do Billy things, and it's kind of surmised that Huey's going to try to look for Starlight. But along the way, Huey ends up finding some information out, as does MM. It kind of results in a particular little showdown. Huey starts to realize that the boys are in danger from within. It is made abundantly clear that Butcher is, in fact, the main villain of the story, after all. With no other soups left for him to hunt down, because now the military and government is going to be putting sanctions and things in place to safeguard against this ever happening again, thus negating Butcher's entire existence, apparently. Butcher's going to finish off the one last group of villains he can think of, his crew. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to, I think it was like release a nerve gas in New York. And he was...
See, what he was going to do was, because there were still soups around, and he just wanted to kill them all.
Right.
So he took like some of the shit that they found in Russia that would make their heads explode. And he was just going to disperse that shit over like the entire planet. And just kill off as many people as he could.
The problem being, though, is that it would also affect normal people who had the recessive gene that could be triggered and turned into a soup. So there's going to be hundreds of millions of casualties.
Right.
Now, I thought it was just New York he was going to do it to. Huey finds out, and jumping ahead a little bit, Butcher basically says, no, I wasn't going to tell you guys. I didn't want you guys to worry about dying. I just wanted you guys to go off peacefully. And Huey's like, you some bitch. But before that happens, MM figures out that Billy's not in the right frame of mind, and the two have a confrontation that results in a throwdown. And it's unfortunate the way it goes because Butcher, despite his pleas, well, maybe pleas is the wrong word, but despite his urging not for this to happen, MM and him do in fact fight, resulting in MM nearly killing Butcher, but Butcher getting the upper hand eventually and putting MM down with, if I remember correctly, a grenade to the face.
Yeah.
Two things in this world that'll kill you for sure. A grenade to the face and a girl saying, maybe, if I'm not doing my hair that night. Only two things that can kill a man. Only two. So MM ends up being, I think, he's not dead from the grenade to the face, although he wishes he was. And then Billy does a killing blow to put him out of his misery. I forget exactly what it was. I think it was like a boot to the head.
Nah, he just kind of covers what's left of his mouth and nose, so he just stops breathing.
There it is. So MM dies. Frenchie and the woman and Huey find out about this, and they start to realize that they're all in danger. So Huey ends up, I forget where he runs off to. He ends up making his way to MM's mother's house, and he meets MM's mother. And basically how I describe her is, Ikaka choka solo. Mama the Hutt.
Yeah.
So, due to the what's the stuff called? Compound V. Due to the Compound V, MM's mother has grotesquely deformed into some almost octopus-like Jabba the Hutt thing, and he goes there seeking. Oh, this is gonna make me throw up. He goes there seeking some nourishment because, as we all know, MM got his size, strength, and abilities from breastfeeding for a little bit longer than he should have. So Huey goes there for a little, shall we say, pick me up. It's all right.
Yes, because that part was weird to me because it's like, I mean, yeah, it worked for MM, but does it work for everybody?
Maybe. We don't really know because of basically how Huey handles the situation. While this is going on, or maybe just slightly beforehand, Frenchie and the woman are clearing out their offices, ready to bail out of town. Basically, you can tell that they're finally starting to connect on a far more deeper level. But Frenchie finds that there's a bomb about to go off that Butcher had left behind. And resigned to their fate, the two just embrace as the explosion takes them out and kills them, leaving Huey the last man standing. So this is a fucking story, right? Then we go to the climax of the arc. Huey meets Butcher on top of the Empire State Building, and we finally find out why it was Huey all along. Did you boys pick up on this little nugget? Why Huey, out of all of them, was still left standing?
Yeah.
Zach, what's your hypothesis?
Well, the hypothesis is going back to the butcher maker, candlestick maker, little side arc. when Butcher was little, he was going to murder his father because his father was an abusive asshole.
As one does at 12.
Yeah. But before he can do it, his younger brother, Lenny, I think was his name, talks him down and was able to basically calm the inner violence that was in Butcher. And that's we at one point we see Huey flashback to when they first met, and Butcher was like, I always wanted a little brother. It's like, oh, Butcher has these violent, evil urges inside of him, but there is still a part of him that doesn't want them to come to fruition. So he wanted someone that would stop him, someone of the high moral caliber to stop him if things ever got too far.
Bingo. And Huey stops him by jumping out of a window by accident and needing Butcher to save him.
Because Huey's a fucking idiot.
Huey's the worst.
Worst.
Literally, Huey drives at Butcher and misses. Butcher catches him by the coat, I think, or by the belt. And he's like, all right, I'll pull you in. Hang on. But as he's pulling Huey in, Butcher's holding on to like a railing or something. I forget exactly what it is. And it gives away. It may have been part of the glass, and it gives away, and the two fall from the top of the Empire States Building down to the observation deck, which, if I remember correctly, is about 15 stories. It's not exactly a comfortable fall. Well, Huey ends up going full-on Sir Impalia on the observation deck guarded roof. There's a pronged rail around the exterior of the observation deck, so you don't try to climb over it. And his leg is impaled on it. Butcher is having a bit of a worse day. He fell on his neck, and now he's paralyzed from the neck down. Huey's able to break off the piece he's on, and basically he and Butcher have one last conversation in which Butcher says, I need you to kill me, Huey. I'm not going to go to jail as a paraplegic. Please kill me. And Huey's like, I'm not going to do that. That's not who I am. And he goes, really? I thought after I killed your parents, you would totally want to murder me. And he's like, what? What? You didn't do it? He's like, oh, I totally did. I made them squeal like little, piggies, like they're dead. Fucking killed them, bitches. And Huey's like, oh, you motherfucker. And like he breaks his neck. Or shoots him or something. I forget what it was. I think he stepped on his neck. Because you got that juice running through him. So Butcher's dead, and he's all like, and then his parents and him connect via phone call, and he realizes that Butcher didn't actually kill his parents. He was just goading Huey to put him out of his misery. Because even in death, Butcher somehow still wins.
Yeah.
So that's how the penultimate arc ends. Is with Huey killing Butcher because Butcher continually manipulates Huey until the end. There is no redemption for Butcher. Butcher does kind of make it seem like he knew Huey was always going to stop him, and his rationale for killing the boys was essentially that they've done terrible things and that they're not good people. But it still doesn't really land too well, I think, as an explanation. Kind of seemed like Garthian is like, fuck it, we'll just kill everyone for no real reason. The last issue, though, features the resolution to the Vought side of things. The head of Vought America is exonerated because the assistant that he's been sleeping with and building up and leaning on is used as a scapegoat. That's great. The person, the former liaison that the boys were working with, what was her name? Not Mallory. What was the other one's name?
Was it Rainer?
Yeah, Rainer. If I remember correctly, Rainer ends up getting exposed as she's running for political office. So that's funny.
Yeah.
Butcher,
Somebody did a flyby. Rainer's a whore.
But you're still fucking with her even after he's dead. And they do a commemorative, like, little unveiling for something. I forget what it was, like an anniversary of the bridge or some shit like that. And that's where Huey...
they constructed a new bridge.
Yeah, and that's where Huey meets Starlight one last time. And the two basically like, are you done, like, being a petty little bitch? And she's like, yeah. Are you done being a petty little bitch? And he's like, yeah. He's like, all right, let's go fuck then. They're like, okay. And that's how the book ends.
Yeah.
More or less. Marcus, we'll start with you. End of the boys. Thoughts, feelings, confusions?
WTF. 3 more WTFs. Ouch. Cry face. Yeah, this was it was a lot. But it felt like a tragic necessity, just with how everything wrapped up. And it's funny because part of that conversation that him and Huey and Butch had at the end, he was like, "So you were just gonna kill us too, like without us knowing?" It was like, yeah, because I mean, even it's weird, like for us leftists, he went in the end. In a way, he was still, I guess, in his own way, still looking out for what he considered to be his found family in a way. And specifically near the end when he was trying to save Huey, like, you kind of look at it like, you know, Butcher was the brother he kind of never had but always wanted, and you know, Huey was the brother that he kind of got I guess a second chance with in a way. So that was some real, I guess, beautiful irony in that. But that last conversation, like when he was pushing him to the edge and trying to get him to kill him, and he brought up his parents, like that was some real good writing with Enos, because we knew. Well, it hit me like, oh shit, he's lying to him.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading it and I'm like, this is it. So when the phone call happened and he went off, and it's like he realized what he did, it kind of like a trip hammer hit twice as hard. The whole thing with MM, going back for a minute, that was, because even before he got into it with Mitchell, which was just a whole slew of emotions and a half, that conversation he had to have with his daughter.
Yeah.
For that, man, that was nuts. Like she detailed like what happened, like he showed up like the goddamn boogeyman, like all the trauma she's already been through. But the scariest thing she had to do was sit there and watch her uncle basically turn into this nightmare. So I mean, she's seen an instance of it when he basically kind of chastised her in front of them boys and crushed that gun. But this was a whole different thing. Like he slaughtered her mom in front of her. Yeah, so that whole thing with MM, that was crazy. The Frenchie thing, that was nuts. And it even wilder, like, because this is like the one thing you didn't mention. Freaking Huey found out the mystery behind the shitter.
Oh yeah.
Which was hilarious, and just again, this I'd forget if this was pre or post titty milk, but this was disgusting.
Yeah, they doubled down in the gross for these last 6 issues. That's
I'm just thankful like the hamster made it out alive at this point.
Hopefully. Damn thing had diabetes. We don't know.
Right?
But yeah, I mean it was just a lot, but it kind of had to happen. Like I said, what this really felt like, and I really thought about you when in these last 6 issues, because of how Butcher came off.
Oh no.
No, it's gonna click. Who in the finale episode of this show, the show that we both love, dropped the line, by the end of today, there will be no more bad guys in this city or in this town. Leader of a certain biker gang.
Oh, was this the season 2 penultimate episode of Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, this might have been a penultimate. No, this was the finale, because this is the episode where he went around. This is when he went around killing all the guys in the city. Jax, which very much came off like Jax.
Yeah. The only difference is Butcher killed his buddies. Jax killed a bunch of Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but it's it's weird too because we have an affinity for them, no matter how like messed up they were, but they still were the bad guys in a lot of ways.
well, I consider the Sons of Anarchy to be more morally corrupt, but still decent people. Because they did have rules, you know. They weren't
But the boys, not,
racists.
no, I was talking about the sons, not the boys. I mean, the boys, not the sons.
Oh, okay, yeah. They were
So
very
no,
much the villains because they killed a lot of they beat up a lot of innocent people.
yeah, yeah, I was talking about them. Like the sons, they just constantly had to walk a morally gray area. But the boys, yeah, it was just like everything was kind of coming to a head. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy because it was a great callback when that building blew up in front of obviously the damn headquarters blew up in front of him, and Huey was like, "Holy hell, I'm supposed to kill this a-hole," and the way it was shot, it took us back to when Robin first died because he was incoherent. He was going off and rambling, and the cop was like, "Just calm down, kid. Yeah, I get you." That was a great little callback. But yeah, it was just a roller coaster of a middle finger from Enos. But it still kind of all made sense that all roads leaded here because you kind of dropped the line before we even got to the issues. He was like, "Who's been the villain this whole time? Think
Mm-hmm.
about it. Come on, like who's been the villain now?" So now who's the villain, Flash?
I
Right?
was
So,
just about to say it. Now who's the villain, Flash?
but yeah, I mean, I guess the only lingering question is does any who's gonna take care of like the basement octopus one?
You know, that's not my concern. I hope someone does, but that's no longer my concern. Oh, jeez. So, overall thoughts, Zach? You got anything you gotta say?
Um, I will say I like the bit of dialogue between Butcher and Huey at the end because it's Butcher is quite possibly the most evil person in the series, but he also still has a heart in there somewhere because he even before he goaded Huey into killing him, he revealed that he knew that Huey was still hooking up with Starlight, and he's like, yes, Huey, if he loved her." Huey said, "Yeah," and he said, "Good. You hold on to her no matter what." So we finally got a little glimmer of kindness from Butcher there at the end. So that was something nice. Now on the flip side, Huey is just the dumbest, most frustrating character I've ever seen. Because this whole time he's like, "Oh, maybe. Oh my gosh, I gotta get stronger. I gotta fight Butcher. I gotta kill him." And the whole time, Butcher just wanted him to talk him down. Huey came so close so many times to the point where at one point, I think this was right before this was during the Jack the Jupiter stuff. Butcher was finally fed up. It was like, "I'm sick of you just fucking going back and forth on this shit. Take a fucking stand." And Huey didn't fucking understand it. So yeah, such a moron. But the rest of it, MM's death in particular was that one was brutal because I mean MM was like the guy that you could MM was kind of like the Diggle in this team. He was the guy that you could turn to if you needed to. He was the guy he was the loyal one who would always stick by you. So his death more than anything else was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tough one to take.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole bit with MM's mother though, that wasn't necessary. It was completely fucking unnecessary. Didn't need to happen at all, because why would Huey get the idea that if I drink mother's milk, I'm gonna get strong enough to beat Butcher? It's not how that shit works.
Well, it does, because that's what happened to MM. Apparently.
Well, that's what happened to MM, because that was MM.
And it also,
if he didn't drink the milk, he would shrivel up and waste away.
yeah, I mean, it definitely was an unnecessary visual. It also felt like I guess English felt like he had to tie that up, because like that was the one thing that was left, kind of up and ended in the conversation between Huey and MM on the bridge, because he kind of tried to gloss over when he asked him about his mom.
Yeah.
It kind of hinted that we'd see her later, but we just didn't know we was gonna see her like that. So
Right.
We didn't know what we were getting, and we were scared that we actually ended up getting it.
Uh-huh.
Just not right. Speaking of right, though, The Boys has already gotten to season 3. We haven't even gotten to season 2 yet. Announced today, The Boys have a 3rd season renewal by Amazon Prime. The full list of episodes revealed by the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, West, are... Oh, this is going to be interesting. The first title that's listed is Butcher, Baker, and Candlestick Maker.
Oh. Well, that's fun.
These are all pretty big episodes. Nothing like it in the world. This is the next one I'm about to read is the title of the coup d'etat arc, Over the Hill with the Swords of 1,000 Men, Proper Preparation and Planning, The Big Ride, The Bloody Doors Off, which is the one where everyone dies, We Gotta Go Now, and What I Know. In addition to the episode's titles, a list of each year's The Boys series staff was provided. Notably, one of the series staff lists was 2020 to 2021, which all but confirms plan for a 3rd season. We already know that. So, we already know that they're not going to kill off the entire cast fucking 6 episodes in. So, like, these are going to be loose adaptations of certain stories, I'm sure. Obviously, when we left, the boys are just escaped from custody. Starlight just had to put down A-Train, who had a heart attack due to his drug dependency. The Deep is recovering from a sexual assault when he had his... I can't believe this sentence is about to leave my lips. Gills finger banged. So that's the thing. And Homelander's just slaughtered like a baby for funsies and found his son and his baby mama. And everyone else kind of just like, so what are we doing for the rest of the season 2? Tune in and find out. I wonder if they're going to do the reveal with Black Noir.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if they do, what Black Noir is going to be, because they might not make him into a Homelander clone like they did in the comic. It could be something completely different. And who knows what Grand Mauve is going to be. Grand Maeve, whatever. But season 3, Queen Maeve, whatever.
Yeah, that's, you know what I just thought about? Like that could be the bait and switch if they do the Homelander Black Noir thing, because we assume that the Homelander we know is the one that was in that room.
You know, that's valid. That's a valid idea.
Because he, like, for all his faults and for all the effery that he gets up to and has gotten up to even in the show, he didn't seem like the guy basically kind of got sat down and basically got the MM treatment for that lady he would eventually blow to hell along with her kid. He doesn't seem like the guy who would force a sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm pretty sure he would have admitted to it in that last confrontation they had when he blew up that house. So, yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting. I mean, the Black Noir is definitely a dangling, feels like an ace up their sleeve. They could definitely completely flip the script with something different. But just off the dome right now, comparing it to the comics, that would be something interesting. But just the fact that they're bringing in Dave Gender Bent um, ooh, that Stormfront for the second season. They're
Yeah.
bringing her in to kind of like the Wonder Woman of his Superman, and contest his attitude in a lot of ways. That completely turns the dynamic for the show. So just a lot of little stuff that they've done to kind of if somebody had how the freak are they gonna drag this out? There's a lot of different ways. Like, cause trust me, the Deep wasn't getting dolphins killed in the books.
Yeah, that's going to be something to pay attention to, especially with guys like the Deep and Queen Maeve, because they didn't have a lot going on in the books other than to kind of be receptacles to the emotional baggage that several other key members were carrying. As far as the idea of Stormfront, I don't know how they're going to portray her, but Stormfront was a Nazi, so kind of interested to see if they're going to go that route with her, and if they do, how that's going to look. And of course, the idea of Butcher's wife not being a victim so much as a willing participant, I think is exactly the realm they're going to go with. Because I think when I have a feeling that the way they're going to do Butcher is she's going to admit that she was into it, she wanted it, and then she knew that she had the opportunity to give birth to basically a living god, and she couldn't, push that aside. I think they're going to make Butcher's ex into a villain of sorts.
Yeah, like basically a big ass Homelander fangirl. Like what greater thing that I could do as somebody who is secretly obsessed with Homelander than to birth his son.
I mean, it's a great kind of villainous take on the idea, so I think that's entirely possible. Speaking of villainous takes, let's talk about Star Wars.
Do it.
Do it. Strike me down with all of your hate. Do it. 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 Disney leaker explains why executives are allegedly livid about rumored Star Wars show from Leslie Headland. So I don't know. Have you guys heard about this? They're doing there's some power struggles at Lucasfilm right now. Kathleen Kennedy's contract isn't expected to be picked up, but they don't want to fire her because that would be bad publicity, allegedly. Then there's also a report that Bob Iger pretty much wants to shuffle all ideas through him before he leaves, which I think he's doing at the end of this year, and handing over the reins to another Bob. I don't remember his name. But essentially all Star Wars decisions need to be made through home office. Well, allegedly, a leak got out from someone within the Kathleen Kennedy side of things, basically touting a new all-female Star Wars project brought to the head by a woman who was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant for 6 years. So if that doesn't make any sense as to why there's some issues, let me explain. There's a story of Ben Affleck threatening to beat the hell out of Harvey Weinstein a decade ago because of who he is, because of what Weinstein's been associated with. If you're his personal assistant for 6 years, at least that's the time frame I've been told, or read, I should say. If you're Harvey Weinstein's assistant for 6 years, with what everyone already knows about the man being so prevalent during this time period, then that makes you pretty gross that you chose your career over doing what was right. Because again, this was a bad industry secret. By bad, I mean that it wasn't really a secret. There have been accusations against him for years. It only picked up headway in the last 5-6 years. So she's been around for a while, was his personal assistant through all the turmoil that he inflicted, and now she's going to be leading the next Star Wars television series, allegedly, for Disney+. So as bounding into comics goes, Disney leaker WDW Pro recently explained why Disney executives are livid about the rumored Star Wars series from Russian doll co-creator Leslie Headland. They're saying that the Disney leaker who previously reported that Disney executives were livid at Lucasfilm's hiring Leslie Headland, the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. He previously indicated they were livid at Lucasfilm because she comes with significant PR baggage, potentially leading to legal baggage, and did so without consulting Disney or their legal department. Now, WDW Pro has elaborated on why Disney executives were livid at Lucasfilms for allegedly hiring Headland. From the Magic Forums, WDW Pro explains, so just received this info. One of the reasons Leslie Headland is such a PR issue is because of quotes like these. Quote, it was so funny and great when I was working there. That was all I wanted. I would daydream that someday I'll be making movies and Harvey will buy them and that he will want to support me, you know, as coworkers, essentially. There's nobody like him. He's a genius. You can sit across from him, and you're like, I cannot believe how brilliant this guy is. So his interest in me as a filmmaker just makes me feel like I made the right choice to move on. This is from an EW.com article, which is Entertainment Weekly. And there is a link, and this is from 2012, long after the industry kind of knew who he was. This leaker also goes on to say, you have to understand quotes like this come well after there were many, many, many reports about Weinstein and his predatory criminal behavior towards women. And while you might think the hundreds of social media posts she had disappeared in conjunction with the Variety leak were all lewd things, the truth is they were often loving, over-the-top endorsements of Weinstein. It continues on saying, additionally, Bob Iger is currently being sued by Paz de la Huerta about Harvey Weinstein, which means that not only is he attempting to get out of that situation, but Kathleen Kennedy has brought the fox into the henhouse by bringing in a Harvey Weinstein personal assistant, and nobody at the top of Disney knows what information she was privy to her in her time working directly under Weinstein. I was curious what the legal issue was that Disney was concerned about beyond the PR issue, but that's the big one I've discovered. You could potentially, although perhaps unlikely, see a situation where Kathleen Kennedy has hired someone who would have compromising information about the CEO, former CEO, and others at Disney. He concludes saying, so now that the fact that Lucasfilm hired someone with significant PR issues becomes more intriguing, and you begin to understand why Disney executives were livid about Headland not having been previously vetted outside of Lucasfilm. So what is Kathleen Kennedy's play here? He also cites Headland deleted over 200 tweets before Variety reported on the rumor that she would have helm a Star Wars female-centric series. The hosts of the Toxic Femininity podcast that include Geeky Candy, OG Star Wars, and Mary Mayhem. All right, hang on. We're gonna take a pause from this article. If you're gonna host a podcast, if you don't use your real names, you're bitches. Stand by the shit that you put out there, or don't say it. Cowards. I digress. On Midnight Edge's YouTube channel, also documented Headland's comments to Entertainment Weekly, as well as other conflicting comments and statements regarding Harvey Weinstein and women. Geeky Candy specifically commented on the comments made to Entertainment Weekly. She states, the fuck is this shit? Why has nobody said this? Why has nobody said this? When I saw this, my mouth dropped. I can't believe it. She had years to self-reflect. This is years after her time with him. Mary Mayhem also stated she's out in the situation. She's capable of stepping away and chooses to re-engage that. That's not a victim. Geeky Candy added, I was so fucking livid. When I read this, every time I read this little paragraph, it's so gross, you guys. It's the same person that just said in 2018 that she was scared of him. What do you... Oh, no, never mind. That's just the article ending. So there's a lot of baggage with this. A lot of concerns. Obviously, the woman had the heads up that this was leaking. That's why she deleted her tweets.
Yeah.
Hope someone got them. Because, you know, like, listen, if you don't know somebody, like, if Zach ends up being someone who eats, like, baby monkeys for fun, well, I don't know that. So if I find out Zach is eating baby monkeys for fun, I'm going to be like, I didn't know that. I'm not going to rush to delete any tweets I made about him. Why would I? I didn't know. Zach, you don't eat baby monkeys for fun, right?
No, of course not.
It's only for sport.
Exactly.
Okay. So just
Come on now.
Just make sure. So the idea that, you know, you would have things to delete only implies that you have things to hide. I, for one, delete a lot of my shit because I post a lot of links to a lot of things, and when you go to our official NerdCorp fucking Twitter account, you just scroll through links after links after links after links, and I understand it can be rather uninteresting to look at, so I auto-delete every 90 days just to clear up the fucking timeline. That's just how it is. So what would I have to hide other than really awesome opinions on things that you should know about because I'm a goddamn genius? I don't know. But I'm not working with fucking Harvey Weinstein. You know, I'm not in the know. I think this woman knew what was going on, didn't care what was going on. And then when it finally came to a head in 2018, she started saying that she was afraid of him, even though that's, far from the truth. I don't think she cared. Now, why would Kathleen Kennedy hire her and set things up for failure? Well, do I believe that Kathleen Kennedy hired her to poison the well? Yes. Do I think she's that vindictive and petty? Yes. This is a woman who posted, entire articles and headlines and all types of advertisements for the idea that the Force is female. She has an agenda. She literally, and this is according to 2 different Imagineers at Disney, which are basically just park technicians with dumb names. Kathleen Kennedy kiboshed all and every retro idea they had for their Star Wars brand, which, by the by, you have to know is a financial failure. Do you guys hear what I just said? Star Wars Land. The thing everyone for the last 40 years was hoping would ever actually be a thing was a financial failure for Disney. Why was it a financial failure for Disney? Well, because all the Imagineers are like, well, you have 50 years of history here. Everyone who's ever watched a Star Wars movie has watched all of them because, duh. Let's go with the iconic scenes and do one from, Mos Eisley and one, with the Katina, one with the Millennium Falcon in Mos Eisley, one with the fucking Hoth. And Kathleen Kennedy says, I don't care about 50-year-old fans. We need to do newer parks for the new movies. Turns out no one gave a fuck about Star Wars Land with the new movie-centric themes, and it tanked rather drastically. Kathleen Kennedy, according to 2 Imagineers, was the one who put down the edict that we cannot embrace the past with these theme parks. Could you imagine doing an Indiana Jones theme and saying, no, we can't have the boulder from, what was that, Raiders? Because that would be, no one wants to see that. Let's have the fucking swinging monkeys from 4. That's what fans want to see. They want to see number 4. That'd be stupid. Let's not do classic Simpsons. Let's do the new shit that no one likes. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So this woman has really gone out of her way to fuck with this franchise beyond belief. She hired Rian Johnson, who she knew she could control. Rian Johnson made a shitty movie. You can sit here and argue if it's good or not, but here's the fucking thing. Movies like Star Wars shouldn't be deconstructions of a genre. They shouldn't be objects and vehicles to what's that fucking dumbass phrase everyone's saying? Subvert expectations. My expectations is that this is gonna be an epic with a grand story and great kick-ass fighting scenes. You're right. You subverted those expectations pretty grandly because it was a terrible fucking movie. I still haven't seen the last goddamn film in its entirety yet, and I don't know how I'm going to. Like, God, they killed fucking Star Wars so goddamn hard. And this was all by design. All of these decisions, to kill the past, Kathleen Kennedy, right there. So it's no surprise she's going to lose her job when her contract expires. And it's no surprise that someone else is going to take over. And it's no surprise that they had Jon Favreau take over for The Mandalorian, which is running through Bob Iger at the moment. Because why the fuck would you bring Kathleen Kennedy on another project that you didn't need her on? So, yeah, this is Kathleen Kennedy trying to poison the well on her way out. Gentlemen, we've talked before about our dwindling interest in Star Wars. Zach, we'll start with you. How much of a fucking shit show is this right now for Star Wars? Assuming all of this is true, which I have no reason to doubt.
I mean, assuming all of this is true, I mean... The Mandalorian, I think both of you as well gave no expectation of success.
No.
Blew me away. Was so good. Such a good show. The last trilogy that came out, the Disney trilogy, I mean, Rian Johnson deserves a lot of shit. Kathleen Kennedy deserves a lot of shit. J.J. Abrams, in my opinion, also deserves a lot of shit because he set this shit up.
Yes.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams threw out all these questions in the first movie and didn't have an answer for them. That's not really how you write a trilogy. You're supposed to know all the answers to all the questions. But so Star Wars is in trouble. Star Wars as an ongoing franchise has been in trouble since Last Jedi. And Force Awakens was an okay movie. It wasn't great. It was not the fantastic thing that everyone said it was, or still says it is. It's not. It's okay. But it is nothing but a remake of A New Hope. That's all it is. Rogue One, complete waste of time. Going into it, everyone's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone dies. So why the fuck do we care? Anyone I ever talked to has only ever said the only things I care about from Rogue One were Forrest Whitaker for his 5-minute cameo, and the Darth Vader scenes. That's it. Nobody gives a fuck. So, obviously Kathleen Kennedy is full of shit. Why cater to the millions of fans that loved everything? Well, not everything, but the original trilogy is an undeniable masterpiece. There is no argument. Everything after the original trilogy is heavily debated as to whether it's good or not. So the whole forget the past so that we can move on to the future, that's not good. That's not good. The Star Wars as a media franchise was doing fine, just based off of video games and cartoons and stuff that they would put out before this whole new trilogy came, and then it's just kind of in a shit show. So, and is Kathleen Kennedy bitter on her way out? I'm sure she pretty damn well is, but she has no reason to be bitter other than the fact that she has no idea what the fan base wants for Star Wars.
It's important to also note that she's lied, publicly lied, caught lied. She said that they weren't going to disregard and destroy the extended universe that had been built upon comics and television and books for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
She did literally just that.
Yeah, that was like the first thing that happened.
So you can't trust her. She's already lied. You can't believe in her because she's let you down. What rationale do you have to hire a controversial hire who is going to incite more conflict within the fandom, other than to think that maybe she's doing it intentionally because she knows exactly what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't feel bad for this headline character. She worked with Harvey Weinstein. She sowed her own oats. She knows what she knows what she's been around.
Yeah.
If someone has rumors or if someone has certain tendencies, behaviors, about it. I'm not going to sit here and praise someone that I don't trust. I'm just not going to.
Right.
And if I do, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. It's about having some goddamn integrity, which seems to be lacking on certain ends of the spectrum these days, but not on this show because we have integrity out the eyeballs. I am Integritus. It is my warrior name. God damn it, I fucked up the line. It's my Spartan name. It's a line from Titus the TV show. It's that thing you have when you know you're doing the right thing. Integritus. It is my gladiator name. Marcus, what are your thoughts on the Star Wars franchise as a whole, as it stands right now, with all that you've heard? And no.
Well, first off, great points. All great points, Zach. I echo all of those sentiments. For me, this, just and everything you said with this woman, and also all the stuff with Kennedy. It just feels like whatever road this franchise was on derailed some time ago, and hasn't felt like it's made any thorough attempts, at least from our perspective, to really get back on any semblance of a correct route. Really, the only light that's been in the tunnel since maybe the prequels, because like I said, these last two trilogies has been bad.
Misa, no
Let's say-
idea what you're talking about.
Hilarious. Yeah, exactly. Trash to say the least. So, the only glimmer of hope has come out of this whole Star Wars period has been for a lot of people the return of the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian. And perhaps anything we're getting now, we're seeing series come up, and I'm sure I guess the Obi-Wan thing is still in the works. But yeah, it's the Mandalorian. That's the only thing I'm really attached to right now with the franchise. Yeah, with Kennedy, it just seemed like, look, the narrative is really like the whole concept of what we went through with not Poe but Rey. Like you said, she talked about the Force is female. That's the narrative, and whatever hoops, sharks they have to jump through, logic or whatever have you, be damned to show that full frontal on screen. Everything else be damned. That's what they're gonna do. And in her mind, in Kennedy's mind, putting somebody who sounds like either a Weinstein sympathizer or a hidden fangirl in place to continue those stories on probably seems like even more logical than putting her in charge in the first place. So, it's just continued bad decision making. This is a great example to throw up in people's face when they talk about how things are still decrepit at DC. So, yeah, it's just all bad from the big screen. So that's all we can hope for is that continued stuff with the Mandalorian, because at this point, yeah, it basically just looks like the ruins of the boys' headquarters, as far as I'm concerned, with their big screen stuff. So
It's just hilarious. Intersectional feminism may have killed Star Wars, but Baby Yoda may have saved it. It's time to all serve your new Lord and Master, Baby Yoda. Although I can do without grown 30-year-olds calling chicken nuggets chicken nuggies. Jesus Christ, stop infantizing yourself, people.
yeah, I just hope they don't go to the Groot route with him, where we don't need him as a team. Like this guy, like let's not do that.
Yeah, they killed Groot. Speaking of Star Wars, Ray Park teased the possible appearance of Darth Maul in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Yay. The only good thing they did about Solo was bringing back Darth Maul. I don't even care how they fucking did it. They thought really hard, and it kept him together when he fell down the pit. All right, fair enough. At least it's better than Palpatine being a goddamn clone, which, by the by, you have to read the novelization of the movie to know. So dumb. How'd he come back from the dead? Let's never explain it until the novel comes out. Why? So we can sell the novel. But that's the only thing in the novel that people need to know, and it's already on the internet. Well, that was not a good idea to run through, I guess. My bad.
None of it matters. Look at all my ships. I have an inventory of ships.
Didn't he raise his ships from a planet's surface?
Something like that.
Wouldn't that have ripped the planet in shreds?
Details.
Isn't that how physics work?
Physics went out the fucking window with fucking Leia going out with Leia going out the window.
Wait, who?
Fucking Force God Leia.
Who? Do you mean Mary Poppins? Because I remember Mary Poppins going out the window in the second of the threequels. I don't remember Leia. Leia hasn't been in a movie since episode 6. What are you talking about? I really wish they would have brought back the original characters for the threequels. You know, Han, Luke, and Leia. Too bad they went and got off-brand versions of them. Speaking of off-brand versions, Darth Maul is alive. Yay. Ray Park is one of the greatest Hollywood stuntmen of all time, but he has done some acting. He was the physical presence of Darth Maul, but not the voice. Yes, Darth Maul had a line. He had 2, actually. When he was talking to Darth Sidious on the balcony in the middle of the goddamn most populated fucking city in the goddamn universe, because it's a fucking planet. Did you guys realize that Coruscant's an entire city planet?
Yeah.
It's a fucking amount of pollution. It's got to be staggering. So anyway, Darth Maul is hidden in plain sight because apparently it's that whole Henry Cavill as Superman in the middle of Times Square. Oh, how doesn't everyone not notice Clark Kent as Superman? Well, Henry Cavill was literally dressed as Clark Kent as Superman in the middle of Times Square. No one noticed him. That's, I guess, how Darth Maul survived on Coruscant. But anyway, he did have 2 lines. It was voiced by somebody else, but Darth Maul, Ray Park, has also done the physical and voice acting of Toad from the X-Men 2000 film, as well as I forget the name of the character, but he was a villain in season 4 of Heroes?
Yeah.
Was that the season?
He had some ability to move the earth.
He was a circus performer with the circus that came to town. I forget what season that was. I think it was 4 because I think they only had 4 seasons in the original series.
Yeah, it was definitely the last.
So, with Ray Park staying close to the role of Darth Maul and his debut in the 1999 Star Wars The Phantom Menace, his latest post in a number of cryptic nods to a role in The Mandalorian 2. Posting on Instagram, Park shared a Sith logo and used the infamous Mandalorian phrase, "This is the way." So there you go. How do we feel about Ray Park, the real Darth Maul, showing up on Mandalorian Season 2? Is it something we can get behind, gentlemen?
Look, man, between who was that? Carlos Esposito, his character with Darksaber, so many rumors floating around about Ahsoka and who's the brilliant potential casting for that, and now this, they might single-handedly be saving the franchise.
I think it wasn't Ming to win in the first season, Marcus.
Yeah, and she's supposed to be coming back for the second half. So if this is now. Obviously, we haven't seen season 2 yet, and I think they probably got a season 3. We're gonna have a season 3. I don't see why not. But if this stuff is executed as well as a lot of the stuff in season 1 was, this will probably be this will be the new hope, the literal new hope for this franchise. So I
would agree. Ray Park's only 45. I thought he was pushing 60.
Oh wow, that's great. But yeah, Maul. Come on, man. Maul is probably for a lot of people I've seen one of the sole reasons people watch the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Like the Phantom Menace. So just his performance in that. Obviously, they brought him back in Rebels, and now he's getting a lot of shine and whatnot in Clone Wars apparently. So yeah, he's just a beloved character. People love that character, and if they bring him back with that original act, which I love because that shows that the actor has an actual liking and affinity for that character. Despite, I would imagine, the hours of makeup he has to sit through. So that just shows a level of dedication. If you can get a person like that back, all you need to do is pair it with some great writing, and you got record numbers coming in. So I'm all for it.
There's also Snake Eyes in the G.I. Joe films. Zach, thoughts on Maul returning, if possible?
I'm completely on board. I loved it when it happened in Solo, and I was immediately reminded that there was supposed to be an Obi-Wan movie coming out. I was like, oh shit, Darth Maul Obi-Wan Part 2. I'm ready for it. I'm on board. Now, hopefully that still happens in the Obi-Wan show, if that ever gets off the ground. But yeah, pull him in the Mandalorian. That would be fantastic. Darth Maul is a fucking beast. How can you not like Darth Maul? Dude is so awesome.
Do the Obi-Wan show. Put Maul in both the Mandalorian and the Obi-Wan show. And if you need any more incentive, all I gotta say is 2 words: do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Because now I'm just imagining a particular. They just set a ridiculous amount of fanfare behind the fight between Ahsoka and Maul in Clone Wars, which apparently was like the best fight they've ever done. So people say. I'm just imagining the potential for that in live action and to see that original actor go potentially head up with our beloved Rosario Dawson. That would be sick.
That would be nice.
Or him clash with a Mandalorian who may or may not get his hands on that darksaber. We don't know.
Yeah.
So.
As long as it's not Boba Fett. Talk about overrated pieces of trash. Oh, I said it. I said it. Fight me. Speaking of fight me, Space Jam 2's on its way. I don't know, Marcus, if this is going to be good or not. Space Jam 1 is not a great movie, but there's a lot of charm in it, especially with Charles Barkley. I promise I'll never sleep with Madonna again. I love Barkley in that movie. And then, of course, you had Grandmama himself, Muggsy Bogues, the only NBA player in history that I'm taller than, except for Spud Webb. Yay, there's 2. Of course, we had Sean Bradley, who's a very good defensive center for the Dallas Mavericks for a while, and I think the Washington Bullets for a spell. Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues' running mate in Charlotte, and Patrick Ewing, who, granted, to be fair, in 94, 95, didn't have much talent left anyway, so either he never got his talent left, he never got his talent back when the Space Jam filming ended, or they literally just filmed him playing an actual basketball game and said it was part of the film. Poor Ewing. But we're getting the second one. We've known this for a while. The vitriol is gone, but the fear remains. The new title is titled... The new title, goddamn. The sequel is titled Space Jam: A New Legacy, and will feature LeBron James in the starring role. Now, let's be honest. Even if we all love Space Jam and despise LeBron James, we all have to admit Michael Jordan acted as well as he played baseball. To which to say he can't do either. Yet LeBron James had a little cameo in some Amy Schumer atrocity, which I'll never watch because it's Amy Schumer. And apparently he was very charming and likable in that film, which is really all you need to be as an actor. You don't need to be a good actor. You just need to be likable.
Yeah.
It's kind of what sells. It's why no one's going to buy a Daniel Day-Lewis film unless it has Oscar buzz because he's a dick. It's also why no one's going to buy a Harrison Ford movie unless it's a Star Wars film because he's a dick. But they'll watch anything with Mark Hamill because he's a god. So James posted a video of himself wearing a hat with the film's logo on the release date of 2021. The film will see James interact with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and other members of Looney Tunes as they once again engage in the Monstars in the basketball game. So here's my problem with this. Why would the Monstars come back when they know that they will lose again?
Great question.
Yeah, how do you bring back the Monstars without? Okay, that's a particular hole to dig yourself out of. Because now I'm going into the direction of like, are you just doing the first one with new people in it, or do you go in a different direction and keep a lot of aspects of the charms from the first one and go on a different route? Because what you don't want is to have like it come off like an ass reboot.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how they bring back the Monstars, but I definitely wanted to pose this to you, like, because I feel like you keep the charm of the Looney Tunes, you don't change that,
Right.
but you update it in the fact of, like, Jordan was an enigma, but this century of the NBA, there's so many more personalities and different quirks with so many of these players. I feel like they'll be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't play off that. Like, you got
Right.
LeBron interacting with Bugs and Bugs not clowning on his hairline. Like, that's a missed opportunity.
So, LeBron, did you drink Michael's Special Juice and that's how you got your hairline back? Now, here's something that needs to be kind of brought to attention. One of the best parts of the original film was the Monstars, but you have to remember that the Monstars were exaggerated versions of the characters of the abilities in which they took. The big bully was Charles Barkley. Remember when Tweety Bird and the big tall blue one was about to do the jump ball, or I think it was Tweety Bird. No, it was the little mouse dude. And he's like, man, you're a little tall, man. The best one. And the guy's just like, yeah. And then he smashes the shit out of him. Like, you're not going to have those specific 5 characters again because, like, the little tiny point guard from the Monstars was Muggsy Bogues. That's literally all he did. He was doing a Muggsy Bogues impersonation. Okay, he even said Grandpa a bunch of times.
We're going to go from James Harden. But yeah, we're going to end up needing James Harden. Oh, damn it, I fouled again.
Well, like, all James Harden does is shoot threes and fucking free throws. Like, I don't want to fucking watch that in a basketball game. Like, what? We're going to have Karl Anthony Towns complaining about Jimmy Butler fucking his girlfriend? Like, really? Like, man, we have a bunch of pansy-ass bitches in the NBA nowadays.
One of the Monstars with a Kardashian.
Oh, my God. That actually would work. And, like, the worst part is, like, we just lost a bunch of talent that would have been perfect, like a Chris Bosh, a Dwayne Wade, a Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we going to do? Like, have Luka Doncic's white ass just being Luka Doncic as a Monstar? Luka Doncic's the nicest dude in the NBA. He's like, I don't know. I like playing. Luka, you're too goddamn nice to be a Monstar. Sit the fuck down. Like, Russell Westbrook, I think, would be perfect.
That'll be good.
That's a great personality.
I'd integrate some things, like, because obviously we got a lot of interaction. Because one of the things in the first film was the interaction with the Space Mountain Chief in the stands.
Yep.
To me, it's so much more like the real life stuff you can play off of now, like in terms of like something that's going on in the crowd. Like you could have like a character be you could have like a Spike Lee Looney Tune.
You could just have Spike Lee.
I mean,
yeah,
he's already a cartoon character.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So just cast Spike, and we need just cast Spike and do like motion cap for he was the other guy that got kicked disrespected by the Knicks.
Oh, Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
We'll make Charles Oakley the big hairy red monster thing. That whenever he gets shaved, he disappears.
Okay, wait a minute. Do we do a Ron Artest in it?
If this was 10 years ago, yes. But I don't think a lot of younger fans would know who Ron Artest is or what the Mouse in the Palace really was. But that would be great. Yeah. Just Sylvester going after Tweety Bird in the stands. So I think you got to have Russell Westbrook and Draymond Green. Like, I think those are you need those two personalities. They're the closest thing you got to Muggsy Bogues and Charles Barkley in the NBA today. I think those are must-haves. Here, some of the great players are like not really big controversial dudes. Like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard are pretty like ho-hum. Steph Curry's like a house dad. Like you never hear about him cheating. You never hear about him doing drugs. He's just fucking plays with his kids all day. Like you can't make him into a Monstar. Charles Barkley was beating the shit out of photographers at the fucking baseline. Like, that's what you need. I don't know if you have that anymore in the NBA, which is both a good and a bad thing, especially when you're trying to make Space Jam. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I think the only way that you can do this is if the Monstars themselves are not the players, but instead are genetically altered and themselves are now just better basketball players. Like, they all look like they're 7 feet tall and play like they're goddamn all-stars, but they're not powered by the NBA's talent. Instead, have the Looney Tunes be powered by the NBA talent to counteract the new steroid-infused Monstars. So, like, Bugs Bunny can be Luka. Steph Curry could be... who's going to be Daffy Duck? Oh, who would be Daffy Duck, Marcus? Jimmy Butler. Oh, Jimmy Butler's Daffy Duck.
Yeah. It's basically, you basically doing like the Lunatics did with them.
Yeah.
Like Daffy was the Flash. Bugs was like Superman-esque and stuff like that. But yeah, you could turn a lot of they inherent personality traits into like basketball elevated powers or something. Because I mean, we already know it's Looney Tune land. You can pretty much do everything a lot of Jordan dunk at the end. So they really got several advantages. But I'm just, again, I feel like we coming up with more creative ideas than what it sounds like they got for the synopsis. So
I just want to see Bugs Bunny with James Harden's beard. And like as soon as it pops out, he looks down, looks at the camera, and just goes, "Really?" I think that'd be fantastic. Lastly, and this one's for you, Warner Brothers has released the first image from Superman Man of Tomorrow, which features Zachary Quinto's Lex Luthor and Darren Criss's Superman. And it looks like a scene out of Archer. It's not the greatest of animations, at least as a still. Marcus, you're a very big fan of the DC animated films. So I wanted to get your takeaway on this. And Zach, I'm going to send it to the group so you can see it as well. Okay. And let me know what you think. Zach, by the way, did you have any opinions on Space Jam?
Well, my first thought was, as soon as Marcus was like, I hope they're not going to just do a reboot of the original Space Jam. My first thought was that's exactly what they're going to do.
More than
I don't see what else they could do. My other thought was, I feel like LeBron James would serve better as a Monstar than as the main character.
Him and Kevin Durant should be the Monstars. I wholly concur.
Yeah. So, other than that, I have no real desire to ever see this movie because I think LeBron James is a schmuck, and I don't care for them to do a remake of the original one.
As long as they have Space Jam's theme song unaltered in the opening credits, I'll give it a chance. But with that said, Marcus, Zach, I sent you guys the image. Did you get it?
Yep, I got it.
Yep.
All right. So what do you think of this Lex Luger Superman? God damn it! I said Luger.
Lex Luger.
That actually might have got my interest for this photo.
So we got Lex Luger, who's looking like fucking Bannon from Johnny Quest with no hair. And we got Superman, who's looking like he's straight out of goddamn Archer, only as Superman. Luthor! What? Danger Zone? Oh my god, now I need to see Archer season whatever as superheroes. Goddamn. All right, so thoughts on Marcus, thoughts on the illustrations that we see, the character designs and just general initial thoughts.
Yeah, the character design, like I said, we've seen better. These very much it's like they just kind of slapped the ultra filter on this whole thing. I'm always intrigued with stuff what they do with the animation because they have done a lot of cool things, and obviously we know you could have a lot more creative liberties in terms when you do these animated films. But we've gotten a lot of Superman content. I'm kind of wanting to see kind of some takes with different characters. Obviously, I think we're coming to the end of the road with that started with like I guess with the Justice League War thing that kicked off with Doomsday, like that particular version of the Justice League coming to an end with I think the Apocalypse movie or whatever. But yeah, I kind of just want to see some more like other characters get stories, like Booster Goals or like to do another Aquaman thing or something like that. Because we just had the Red Sun movie, and that was coming after the Superman animated trilogy, the Death, the Cyborg, and something else. So I'm kind of Supermaned out a little bit animated wise. Like I said, I'm always interested in the animated, but this doesn't really have me over the moon right now.
Now these illustrations aren't great. They kind of remind me of like those Zach, you might remember. Remember like those little tiny action figures that were like cops and firefighters, and like they had like a Connect or something like that, and they had like a TV show.
Yeah.
I forget
Yeah,
what
I
that.
know what you're talking.
Yeah, it was like some kind of like Heroes line. That's what these dudes look like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly something that makes you over the moon for. But it also, if my interpretation of this image is correct, it looks like they're younger. So it might be like
Superman definitely looks very young.
and so does Lex, because he looks like he's maybe 20s. But then again, this style is so minimal in the amount of details added to it that it's hard to know for sure if this is supposed to be two young versions of Luthor and Superman, or if this is in fact just really minimal. So I don't know.
Right.
But if it's a younger take on Superman and Luthor, that could be interesting, because Marcus, you and I, as great as the Arrowverse was for a while, we always said that the greatest universe that TV has ever seen in superhero-dom was Smallville.
Yep.
So I would be open to a young Superman story, but I can't guarantee that's what this is going to be. I haven't read anything about this movie yet, so I don't know. I'm sure there's probably something out there. I just don't really care enough to look for it. What are you going to do? Zach, any thoughts on this one?
I definitely see what you mean by Archer.
Yep.
Because I've never even seen a single episode of Archer. I've just seen like images of it and clips. So, but Superman looks like Archer dressed up as Superman.
It really does.
It really does.
And I'm all right with that as an idea. What I'm not all right with is not getting it once I know that it's a possibility for it to exist in my brain. It's like, I may have not realized I wanted corn dogs, but now that you brought it up, you better have some goddamn corn dogs.
It's funny. I'm not even a big Archer guy, though I appreciate a lot of elements and stuff that I've caught here and there from that show. But even looking at that and hearing you guys, I would prefer this as a like Archer special as opposed to like a DC film.
Right? I'm just saying it would be fucking fantastic. I would be all about that super Archer. I say we do it. Fuck it. We'll just go get H. John Benjamin and have him voice Archer Man, Super Archer. Archer Kent. Clark Archer. Kent Archer. So that's all I got for this week. Gentlemen, do we have anything else that we want to touch on before we say goodnight?
Nah, I'm good.
All clear here.
All right, then. We're done. ComicCorp's in the books. Go check us out at realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. We seem to be having some server issues, so kind of just give us a break. I said server. It sounded like Cerberus. It may have been both. I don't know. We might have Cerberus issues. It's very possible.
He's a good boy.
You fucking clean up after him then. You can find us on Twitter at NERDCORP, on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. Our WCW was a Marcus recommendation, Amy Adams. Our Wrestler of the Week was a me recommendation, and that was Moose. One of these days, Zach will be offered the ability to pick, and I will ignore it.
Yeah.
Because I already know his answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's very intuitive, folks. You can find us at the website, realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP, on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. You can also find us on our personals. Marcus, you can be found on Paradox Kid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, at True Penny Show on Twitter, TruePennyShow. You can find the great Zachary Tyler Pew Pew Brian Duncan Sandwich Donuts himself at Instagram and on DeviantArt at the same handle. Radiance 2020, RADIANCE 2020. I didn't fuck it up this time. That's RADIANCE 2020. Blah.
That's it.
You can find me on my personal Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo. And you can also check us out at Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com if you want to download the podcasts to your computer or just listen to it via the URL. You don't need to download it. You can just click play. Or if you want to download it to your cell phones and mobile devices, you can do so by downloading the Podbean app, signing up. It's free. Just got to sign in. And then you can download straight away to your cell phone and mobile devices by searching Real Nerd Corp on the app and get listening today. We're also on iTunes, but who the fuck uses iTunes anymore? Maybe one day I'll get us on Spotify. That'll be nice.
Ooh.
I don't know what you have to do. If I have to murder a part of my soul, I don't know if it's worth it, but I'll look into it.
I mean, do you have any parts left?
I have plenty of parts left. I do the same 5 shows with the same 4 people for a decade for a reason, folks. It's because I kind of like them. And it's a lot harder to train them to be the way I need them to be. So I already found the perfect amount. So, like, I'm good. I don't need to train anyone else. We're good. We're good. So anything else, gentlemen? Anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, then we're done. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. This has been ComicCorp Podcast, brought to you by RealNerdCorp.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that nonsense. And, yeah, as always, read more comics. And Marcus, why don't you take us home?
Stay inside me.